In the highly saturated sneaker industry dominated by brands at the top, can a new sneaker design come in and disrupt that? Well, I've got two really interesting sneakers that might just answer that question. Starting with the Lacoste L003 Active Runway sneaker. I know, it's not my favorite name. I want to start by saying that I absolutely love this sneaker box. It feels solid and premium, and it has this little rope where you pull it open like a nice premium tray. And then of course you get the sneakers. This sneaker has some details that are just as interesting as the design. These actually just released, although they did have a very limited exclusive release back in October 2022. They had 6 launch colorways, 3 of them being super vibrant with the yellow, the orange, and the blue. The other 3 being much more toned down with the black, the cream, and this gray colorway, which Lacoste sent over to me and is the sponsor of today's video. Now this sneaker has a lot of different design details and materials which make the overall look of it pretty wild. I mean, starting off with one of the most visually different elements about this sneaker is all of the exposed foam that you find around it. It pretty much ends off every single panel on this sneaker. You find it wrapping around the toe box, all of the medial and lateral panels. We've even got that exposed foam around the ankle area and the tongue. Definitely gives off a very deconstructed vibe. Now the base material on here is also super interesting. As you can see, you get this very wide mesh paneling. Now that mesh being so wide definitely makes this sneaker super breathable, and in specific places on that mesh they also added some fused rubber material to give this sneaker a lot more structure as well. You also get some suede on this sneaker around the toe box, acting as the mud guard, which comes in that same gray color and does feel pretty soft to touch. And then one of the most obvious design elements has to be these huge laces on it. These laces are thick, like at least 3 times bigger than your standard laces. And they also move around the entire sneaker, which is completely different to your conventional lacing system. Now surprisingly, despite how they look, these laces are actually functional and you can feel them keeping your foot down in place when you're wearing them. However, I will say that you can't exactly remove these laces because, as you can see, the actual eye stay on this pair of shoes isn't big enough to get that knot through. But yeah, unless you cut these aglets off, you are not going to be lace swapping this sneaker. Now the midsole, as you can see, is also very chunky, and it does have a pretty decently soft cushioning under it. You couple that cushioned midsole with the ortholite insole and you've got quite a comfortable combo going on. In fact, these things are very comfortable on foot. With all of this foam upper and the cushioned midsole, it definitely is nice to wear. However, I will mention when I was wearing these things, I did have a little bit of room in the toe box, so I would actually suggest going a half size down. Now this is more of like the concept car version of the L003 Lacoste sneaker. Wild design, really pushing the boundaries. And that's where this more traditional version comes in. This is the Lacoste L003 Neo. This is actually also a brand new addition to Lacoste Spring Summer 23 lineup. And as you can see, they still have a lot of that active runway model DNA baked into this sneaker. However, they do opt for some more conventional details. For starters, you have a traditional lacing system. They also come with an extra pair of white laces, which I might prefer. I'm not entirely sure. Now this model actually launched with 9 different colorway options, so plenty of the brighter ones and a lot more of the toned down versions as well. You've got the same material for the base of this sneaker being that mesh. However, this one is a lot more closely knit. The other one is a lot more wide. So I can imagine this one being more durable over time. This one also has a combination of leather and suede overlays, which I do really like. Definitely makes this sneaker feel a lot more structured when it's in hand and obviously on foot as well. Now the suede feels really nice in hand and soft to touch, and the leather panels feel okay, nothing to write home about. You do still have the exposed foam details on this pair of sneakers. However, obviously it's a lot less obvious than on the other pair. This one just has a couple panels on the upper that have that exposed foam, and then of course for the tongue as well. And as you can see, these do have the exact same midsole as the Active Runway sneaker, so you're still getting that ortholite midsole cushion combo, which again is super comfy. I was actually super surprised that I hadn't seen these sneakers before. They are super unique and offer something really compelling, especially when you consider that they are a more affordable option. Lacoste has actually been making footwear for 60 years, mainly focusing on tennis. And that's pretty evident with their latest collection. Like, some of the colorways are even inspired by that neon green of a tennis ball. And I think the execution on these sneakers were very well done. It's great to see a brand expanding from sportswear into more lifestyle sneakers. I mean, hey, the more competition in this space, the better. I really like how these sneakers are closely related in terms of the design details, but both offer something really different. You know, if you're someone who likes your sneakers a little bit more out there in terms of the design, obviously the L003 Active Runway would be the model for you. The L003 Neo obviously offers a lot more of that conventional style when it comes to a pair of sneakers, but still keeps that more deconstructed vibe that the Runway has. Something I will mention about both of these sneakers that I'm not the biggest fan of is the branding that they've put on the lateral side of both of them. While this branding is actually pretty interesting, interesting because it's GPS coordinates of the headquarters of Lacoste in Paris and their factory in Troyes, where some of the parts are produced. However, I think having it on the outside of the sneakers I think is a little bit too much. They probably could have done better if they just added it to like the inside or something just a little bit more subtle. But the same branding on the active Runway model as well. However, they also added a slogan to this one as well. Some people might like that detail. Obviously, it definitely adds to the whole deconstructed theme of these sneakers. But yeah, personally, I would have preferred it just somewhere inside, a little bit more subtle. Overall, these sneakers have been really cool to take a look at. It's exciting to see Lacoste offering something new. Both the L003 Neo and the active Runway models are available now with the links down in the description. Big thanks to Lacoste for sending these sneakers over and this quarter zip hoodie, which I think looks pretty clean, and of course sponsoring today's video. And of course, thank you guys for coming through and hanging out with me, and I'll catch you all in the next one.